Namo Namaha, Bhaktam Sarvesham Hardam Swagatam. Welcome back to the channel Sanskrit Sopanam. Moving ahead in our Learning Sanskrit through Gita series. Today we'll be picking the 69th shloka from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This particular shloka is extremely poetic, extremely symbolic, and a very beautiful and very profound message has been shared by Krishna through this shloka. So what is this shloka and what we can understand from Sanskrit point of view also, all this we will see. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly dive in today's video. Okay, so this is the shloka. Let me go through the shloka once. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. Okay, so this is the Mula Shloka and this is the Padacheda of the same Shloka. Not much is happening from Sandhi point of view. You can spot a Sandhi here, Tasyam Jagarti. What Sandhi is this? So this is the Anuswara Sandhi. The Padant Makara is changing into Anuswara. So this is the Anuswara Sandhi. The same Anuswara Sandhi you can spot between Yasyam and Jagrati also. Same Anuswara Sandhi. And then you can spot a Sandhi between Pashyatah and Munehe. What Sandhi is this? So this is the Uttva Sandhi. So the Visarga of this Pashyataha, this first changes into Ukara. Hence the name Uttva Sandhi. So Visarga changes into this Ukara, but as soon as it changes into Ukara, it combines with the preceding A and they both change into O due to Guna Sandhi. So to simplify this rule, we just say it is a Uttva Sandhi, but it is like a two-step process. The Uttva Sandhi only changes the Visarga into Uttvam. Hence the name Uttva Sandhi, but then there is also another Sandhi, Guna Sandhi happening. So it is Uttva of Visarga and then Guna. And hence Pashyataha, this becomes Pashyato. Okay, so this is Uttva Sandhi followed by Guna Sandhi. Okay, and as always, the Sandhi rules and the word by word breakdown of this shloka will be in the PDF sheet that you can download from the link in the description box for your own Swadhyaya purpose. Now let us move on and start the decoding of the shloka. Okay, so in this shloka, we find two Kriya Padas, Jagarti and Jagrati. So we will start with this first one, Jagarti. And Jagarti, this Kriya Pada is coming from Jagradhatu. Jagradhatu means to stay awake, to be awake. And the form here is Lat Lakaraha, Prathama Purushaha, Ekvachanam. Okay, so Jagradhatu in these properties becomes Jagarti. That he or she keeps awake. That is this Jagarti. So we are starting with this Kriya Pada and the question will be Kaha Jagarti? Who keeps awake? And the response is Sanyami Jagarti. And Sanyami, this is coming from Sanyamin Pratipadika. It is a in anta. It is a in anta Pratipadika. Sanyamin basically means one who has Sanyama. Okay, one who is endowed with Sanyama. Because this Pratipadika itself is coming from another Pratipadika. Okay, so we already have discussed this thing that to create a new Pratipadika from an existing Pratipadika, we use Tadhyata Pratyaya. So Tadhyata Pratyaya, this is the category we use to create a new Pratipadika from an existing Pratipadika. So the existing Pratipadika here is Sanyama. And Sanyama basically means control, restraint. That is that Sanyama. Okay, and this is being modified using Ini Pratyaya. Ini is one of the Tadhyatanta Pratyaya. So this is modified by Ini Pratyaya and as a result we get a new Pratipadika, Sanyamin. Okay, and this Ini Pratyaya, what is the use of this Pratyaya? Ini Pratyaya means endowed with that thing. So with whatever this Ini Pratyaya is attached, the meaning is endowed with that quality, endowed with that guna. So Sanyama means control, Sanyamin means endowed with this control. So basically Sanyamin means a self-controlled person. Okay, so I hope this Sanyamin, this Pratipadika is clear. Sanyamin, one who is endowed with this self-control. So a self-controlled person, Sanyamin. And this Sanyami here is the Pullinga Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachanam Rupa. Just as Sannyasin, in Pullinga Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachanam becomes Sannyasi. Manoharin becomes Manohari. Yogin becomes Yogi. So same thing. Sanyamin becomes Sanyami. Sanyami Jagarti. A self-controlled person keeps awake. Okay, so I hope this pada is clear. And again see, a self-controlled person here within these context of shloka means a yogi. Okay, this self-controlled person is not referring to you and me who is exercising a restraint or control for a temporary period. It is Navaratri going, so I will not eat non-veg. I am a self-controlled person. No, it's not. The shloka is not talking about that. Shloka is talking about a person who has kept his senses, who has brought his senses under his complete control. So that kind of a self-controlled person. So basically a yogi. So with this Sanyami, this shloka is referring to such kind of a person. Okay, Sthit Prajna person to whom Krishna is referring to in all these shlokas. So basically, with this shloka, Krishna is going to give us a stark contrast, a stark difference between a common average person like us and a yogi, and a person who has mastered this self-control, who has brought all the senses under his control. So a yogi, that kind of a person. So what is the stark contrast between a common person like us and a yogi? So that difference is portrayed here in the shloka. We will see that. So this Sanyami refers to a yogi person. Sanyami Jagarti, a self-controlled person, a yogi keeps awake. So now the question is, Kasyam Jagarti, a self-controlled person keeps awake in what? And the response is, Tasyam Sanyami Jagarti. In that, a self-controlled person keeps awake. Okay, Tasyam, this is of course coming from Tada Sarvanama, and the form here is Strilinga, that is feminine, and Saptami Vibhakti and Ekvachanam. Why we are using this Sarvanama as a feminine is because this Sarvanama, this pronoun is pointing to a noun which is feminine. This Tad is basically pointing to this Nisha, and Nisha is the Strilinga Shabda. So this Tad is also taking the Strilinga form. Okay, so this is Strilinga form in Saptami Vibhakti Ekvachanam. So Tasyam, in that Sanyami Jagarti, in that a yogi keeps awake. Okay. But what is that? What is Krishna referring to? That is the next question. So Kidrisham, by this Kidrisham is, I'm basically asking, how is that described here? And Krishna says, Ya sarva bhutanam nisha. Ya, that which is nisha, that which is ratri, that which is night, sarva bhutanam, for all the beings. So Krishna is saying, Ya sarva bhutanam nisha, that which is night for all beings. Tasyam sanyami jagarti. In that, a yogi, a self-controlled person, keeps awake. So basically, Krishna is saying that which is considered night by all the common people, all the average people like us, in that night, in that nisha, a yogi person keeps awake. Okay, so this nisha is not the literal night of that day and night. This nisha is obviously symbolic for something more profound. Okay, what is that? We'll talk about at the end of the video. First, let us understand the structure of the shloka. Okay, and again, if we see these words, so ya, this is coming from Yad Sarvanama. Yad Sarvanama means one who or that which. Okay, and because we are using this Sarvanama again for Nisha, so this is again taking the Strilinga form. Strilinga Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachanam. So ya. Ya Nisha. Nisha again means Ratri, means night. So ya Nisha, that which is night. And Sarva Bhutanam. So the Pratipadika here is Sarva Bhuta. Bhuta here refers to all the beings. Okay, that is this Bhuta. Sarva, all beings. Okay, and we want to say that which is night for all the beings. So this is Shashti Vibhakti Bahuvachanam user. Okay, Ya Sarva Bhutanam Nisha Bhavet, that which is night for all the beings. Tasyam Sanyami Jagarti, in that a yogi keeps awake. And then in the second pankti, we have another Kriyapada, Jagrati. And this Kriyapada, just like the previous Kriyapada we saw, Jagarti. So this is coming from the same Jagra Dhatu. That means to stay awake. The only difference is that this is Bahuvachanam now. Jagarti, that was Ekvachanam Rupa. This is Bahuvachanam Rupa. Rest everything is same. So for this Jagra Dhatu, the Latlakara, Prathama Purusha Rupa goes like Jagarti, Jagrataha, Jagrati. Okay, these are the forms. So the earlier form we saw was Ekvachanam because Sanyami, that was the Karta, one person. Here, Jagrati, this is Bahuvachanam. Why we will see. Okay, so Jagrati basically means they keep awake. Okay, and the question will be, Kani Jagrati, who all keep awake? And of course, now he is talking about all the Bhutas. That Bhutani Jagrati, all the beings, they keep awake. Okay, Bhuta again, we already know. Bhuta means beings. This is a Napumsak Linga Shabda when used in this sense, beings. Okay, so this Bhutani is the Prathama Vibhakti Bahuvachanam Rupa. Bhutani Jagrati. The people, the beings, they keep awake. Okay, and if you move on, so again the question will be Bhutani Kasyam Jagrati. So Yasyam Bhutani Jagrati. That in which all the common people, that in which all the beings, they keep awake. Okay, so the sentence is building on to something. We will see what. So the question is Saka. Okay, so that in which all the beings keep awake. So whatever that reality or that state in which all the beings keep awake, what is that? So we are inquiring about that. Saka. That is what? And Krishna says, Yasyam Bhutani Jagrati Sa Nisha. That in which all the beings keep awake, that is night. And let's complete the sentence. That is night for who? That is night for Muni. That is why Munehi Nisha. Okay, this Muni is the Pratipadika, Ikarant Pullinga Pratipadika. Munehe is again the Shashti Vibhakti Ekvachanam form. So Yasyam Bhutani Jagrati, that in which all the beings keep awake, Sa Munehe Nisha, that is night for the Muni. Okay, so again he is establishing that contrast, because earlier Krishna said that which is night for all the beings, in that a Sanyami person, a Muni, he keeps awake. And now he is saying Yasyam Bhutani Jagrati, that in which the beings keep awake, that is night. That is considered night for a Muni. Okay, so there's a complete contrast between a common average person like us and a yogi and a Muni. Okay, so the language of this shloka is a bit poetic, okay, where this nisha is very symbolic. And the perception of what is night is completely different for all the beings and all the realized souls, all the self-controlled person, yogi Muni. Because what is night for all the beings is where the Munis, they keep awake. And where all the beings keep awake, that is considered night by the Munis. Okay, so it is complete contrast. Okay, but anyways, we'll come to that. I hope the structure is clear so far. Yasyam bhutani jagrati, that in which all the beings keep awake, sa munehe nishaha, that is night for the Muni. And what kind of a Muni? Pashyataha. This pashyataha is coming from pashyat pratipadika. And this pashyat is also a kridanta. That means it is coming from a dhatu which is modified using a krit pratyaya. Okay, so the dhatu is drish dhatu, the krit pratyaya is shatr pratyaya, and the pratipadika we get is pashyat. Okay, drish dhatu means to see, to observe, and shatr pratyaya gives the flavor of while doing that. Okay, while doing that. So this pratipadika pashyat means one who is seeing, one who is observing. Okay, basically an observant person. Okay, so this pashyat is being used as an adjective for Muni because they have this vision which continuously sees through the true reality. Okay, pashyat being used as an adjective for Munehe, so it is taking the same form. Pullinga Shashti Vibhakti hi Ekvachanam form. Pashyat changing into Pashyataha. Okay, so I hope all these words, all these padas are clear. Let us see the Anvaya along with the Anuvada once. So to show the contrast between common people and then those who have mastered this self-controlled, a yogi, a sage. So to show the contrast between them, Krishna is saying, Ya sarva bhutanam nisha, that which is night for all the beings, tasyam sanyami jagarti. In that, a self-controlled person, that is a yogi, he keeps awake. So that which is night for all the beings, in that state, in that reality, a yogi keeps awake. And in contrast to this, Krishna is saying, Yasyam bhutani jagrati, and that in which the people, all the beings keep awake. Sa pashyata munehe nisha. That is night for an observant sage. That is night for a sanyami. That is night for a self-controlled person. Okay, so that is the literal translation of the shloka. Okay, so again, these are those kinds of shlokas for which you absolutely need a bhashya, a commentary on them to understand their esoteric language. Because the use of nisha here, it is very symbolic and it holds a lot of spiritual depth. Okay, so for all these shlokas, I always recommend please follow a proper genuine commentary and bhashya on them to fully understand their import. Okay, but having said this, let us have a quick discussion about it. See, a clear contrast is being shown between two sets of people. One is all of us, the common average people who lead a sensual life. Okay, and then there is another set of people who are yogis, they are sages, Muni. What is the difference? The difference is we live in the wake of our senses and our mind. Okay, our senses and our mind, they pull us, they drag us to wherever they want us to drag. Okay, so that is the condition of each of us. And what are these yogis and munis? They have mastered complete control over their senses and hence a complete control over their mind also. So that is the difference. So in a nutshell, the contrast is being shown between the ignorant people and the wise people. Okay, the people of asthir prajna, whose wisdom and whose buddhi is not firm, and then people who are sthit prajna, whose buddhi and whose wisdom is completely firm. Okay, so the contrast is being drawn between these two people. Okay, and now coming to this word nisha. See, what is nisha for common people like us? The nisha is our ignorance. Okay, the nisha is our ignorance. How? Because when we see this outside world, we only perceive the name and the forms. All the different name and forms, we can only perceive that. But we are not able to perceive what is underneath that name and form. And what is underneath that name and form? That's Satchidananda. that pure existence, that pure consciousness, and that pure bliss, that Satchidananda, that God, that Brahman, that is the substratum of all these name and forms. But when we perceive the world outside, and when we perceive the world within us also, all our thoughts, all our ideas, all we can perceive is the names and forms. And we get stuck in the diversity of those names and forms. We only get stuck in that. So what is Nisha for us? That which is in dark for us. What is in dark for us? This, the underneath substratum of all this, the pure consciousness that is everywhere. Okay, so that is what we cannot see. So the Nisha is pointing to the ignorance that we face. Okay, think of it like this, that there is a proper object that is kept on the table. But when we are looking at the object, we are looking at the object through a tinted colored glass. So when we see that object through a tinted colored glass, we only see that object with that color. Okay, we superimpose that color on that object. Okay, and what is that colored glass for us? It is our conditioning of body and mind. Okay, after all of us are pure Satchidananda, all of us are Satchidananda. But why do we feel finite? Because we are conditioned by this ego, this body, and this mind. And we perceive this world through these instruments only, body, mind, and ego. Okay, so this conditioning of body, mind makes us see only the plurality, the diversity of this world, only the name and form of this world. So that is that ignorance. And what does a wise person see? The wise person see the thing as it is. They see the tattva. They have completely removed that tinted colored glass. They have completely removed it. What does it mean? They have completely removed this conditioning of body and mind. They are able to transcend that conditioning of body and mind. And now they see the world as it is. They see the tattva behind that world. They don't get stuck in the name and form. They see the true reality of Satchidananda behind it. Okay, so that is the difference. And that is what Krishna is saying here. That what is considered night for us, what is in dark for us, that true reality, in that a Sanyami person, he keeps awake. That is what Sanyami person, he lives in, he thrives in. And then in contrast, in which all of us keep awake, that is this name and forms, this world of name and forms, in that we keep awake, that is considered night by a yogi. Because that is just name and form, it does not matter. Okay, it is just incidental, it is just conditioning. Okay, the true essence, the true tattva is the Satchidananda beneath everything. Okay, so that is what is being referred to here. Okay, so that is a bit about it. But again, I'll advise that please follow a bhashya, a commentary on them, so that you can understand the true import by the qualified gurus, the qualified acharyas. Okay, I only share a bit of it, what I understand from those bhashya, those commentaries. Okay, see, there's this great thing Swami Sarvapriyananda once said. He said, the same objects that bind us, that bind all of us, all these objects, all these name and forms that keep us bound, that same objects act as a trigger for a realized person to absorb into Brahman. Okay, because when we see an object, we get hung up in that particular name and form. But when they see any object, that object is like a doorway for that substratum, for that Satchidananda that is underneath it, that is behind all these name and forms. Okay, so how beautiful it is that the same objects that bind us, that keep us bound, those same objects acts as a trigger for a samadhi, for these wise people. So how beautiful it is. It is just a matter of vision. Okay, it is a matter of vision. Okay, so very poetic and very beautiful verse. See, only great rishis like Vyasa and all, they have this profound, they have this unparalleled genius about them. Then they can keep the language so simple, they can keep the language poetic, and within that, it carries such a profound message. Okay, so such was the brilliance of our rishis in conveying such subtle truths in such simple language. Okay, but then again, to understand the true import, we need these bhashya and commentaries on them. Okay, then only we can fully understand and appreciate it. Okay, and then apply it in our day-to-day life. Okay, but anyways, that is a shloka. I hope all the words, all the padas were clear. I'll now take leave. I'll meet you in another video with another shloka. Until then, stay awesome, stay happy, keep learning Sanskrit. Vayam punah milamaha. Dhanyavad.